So I just got out of the DMV to get my ID changed from the state of Maine back to Ohio, as the Maine trip didn't work out for me, and I just never really got around to changing my state ID so that way I can go to school and get a certificate for my long-term career and go back. So to get to the point, the DMVs and their processing is way more complicated and overwhelming compared to what it was just 3 years ago. When I got my ID for the state of Maine like 3 years ago, I was living with a buddy from high school. I had like no credentials or proof of like any kind realistically living there besides sleeping under the roof. And even then it was like super easy. Like I can go in, I wait forever to get the process. I just say I'm getting an ID for the state of Maine from Ohio. I have a social security and I have a birth certificate to have proof of residential in the US and my current address. And you just get some papers signed, you pay a fee, you take your picture, and it comes in the mail in 3 weeks or so. It seems like 3 years later, that's not a thing anymore. Just to get my ID back to the state of Ohio, I had to have my current ID from out of state, then I had to have social security and a birth certificate, which was typical, but because it was out of state, I had to have proof of my current address, which was bills. I couldn't even show like letters of like my elections from when I was voting in like 2024 or any letters from last year. It had to be bills or some type of payment that I made at that address, which I've never heard before, and it felt like an interrogation room or a police station more than anything. Go to the DMV or any government agency has always been overwhelming for me. It just feels like any wrong move or any suspicious activity, they can take your ass to jail. Now, I might be exaggerating, but that's just how it feels. And I know I can't be the only one. So I had to struggle going through my phone app for my phone payments, which had my address on it. Had to use the printer. Then I had to go through my bank account to have bank statements of my process and payments with my address on it. All of this just to get an ID to prove that I was living at this current address for 3 years, and just because I've never gotten around to changing my ID, because after the collapse of everything that went on in 2023, being homeless, living in my car in Boston, I was just too afraid to go out. And now that we have all these cameras, AI technology with cameras reading your plates, cameras tracking your every move, monitoring on your phone, and police everywhere, it gets a little overwhelming going outside, and America is beginning to look and feel like a third world country. So I've been afraid to go to the DMV for nearly 3 years just to get my ID changed for this reason. And now they have like all these new requirements that just don't make any sense. Like, I'm a US citizen, born and raised in this country, but they want all of these papers as if I'm not from this country, or they think I don't live in the US. And it makes me feel like I am no longer a citizen of this country. I feel more like a prisoner in North Korea. And I swear, 10 years ago, it wasn't like this. It was simple. It worked. You got your ID on the exact same day. You got your title of your car on the exact same day when you needed to transfer it to your name. Everything worked and was simple, but now it just seems like we are going backwards. It's overwhelming, and we are starting to feel like a digital North Korea society.